Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited about this one because before these guys came on, I was kind of feeling like a second class citizen, maybe a third world, fourth world citizen. But these guys are going to bring some first class here to Sportswire Radio. And we had such a good time when we had them on the first time that we had to get him back, especially after what they did at Nonstop Action Wrestling's Nuclear Winter, where they pretty much laid a nuclear bomb, especially on Dan Robertson here, and to an extent, Young Horace. And between these guys, I've lost count on how many championships that they have, but they've got 4 of them. And we'll get into that, plus much, much more. So, wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report. Number 1. Global Sports Show. Pro wrestling stars here combined have 1, 2, 3, 4 championships. They are first class. They are champion Charlie and the Nomad, Dalton, Garrett. Gentlemen, happy belated New Year, and how are you?
Happy New Year.
It's good to be back. Rev. How you doing, bro? You okay?
We'll see how my voice feels. I did a whole bunch of promos late last night, and I was like, can I do this? And then it was like, Bentley canceled it. I'm like, wow, that's actually a good news for us, but we'll certainly see. But I also forgot to tell you, the champs are here, but we are definitely doing well, and it is certainly a big, big time ahead here for the first class. We'll get into a number of different, maybe some places that you're up to, some places that announced you guys as a part of their roster. But I want to talk about Nonstop Action Wrestling for a second. And I want to talk about Nuclear Winter because you guys pretty much, as I spoke at the top, laid a nuclear bomb on Dan Robertson, the Cult of Killjoy himself, and also Young Horace. And for those that are watching and listening here on Sportswire Radio and Champagne Charlie, I mean, talk about what you guys did, and certainly I'm sure Dan Robertson's still feeling it.
Do you want me to be honest or tactful with what we did?
Feel free, because I got a whole bunch of people that have tuned in already, so people want to hear the truth.
Honestly, we beat the crap out of them. Yeah, I mean, Dan Robinson. This is the pathetic part. Dan Robinson put up this Instagram post a couple of days later, saying that he didn't care about us and gave us the assist, like we needed it in the first place. Yeah, I mean,
if I remember rightly, I think we were pretty much in control from the first bell, weren't we?
Pretty much. One thing I will give our opponents credit for: Young Horace had a lot of guts. When Robinson. Yeah,
I like Young Horace. I got a soft spot for him. He even comes on my non-wrestling shows to kind of hang out. He kind of won me over a little bit.
Here's what happened.
I have to admit, I do feel slightly guilty for what we did to Horace. Yeah. At the end of the day, the boy was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and Dan Robertson just showed his true colours by leaving Horace.
Ran with his tail between his legs.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
There was a puff of dust in the shape of Robertson as he fled the building, mate.
Yeah.
I'll give Horace props. He stood there and he tried us.
Yeah. Both of
in
us
the end.
Yeah, not good.
The first class was just too much for him.
Sadly, we had to make an example, and Young Horace, unfortunately, the lamb to the slaughter, shall we say.
Well, I've got a bunch of comments here first, so let me try to get to everybody. Okay. Uncle Ralph, of course, from CCW, and he's got his own tag team in his own right. He's managing these days the Modern Day Mafia.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've been following them. Really good stuff. I'm a big fan of his work as well as a manager. Really good.
Yes,
stuff.
Uncle Ralph. Uncle Ralph is the man. Uncle Ralph, if he's a manager, he certainly leads you to the promised land, and he's almost the running joke on Sportswire is he's become like my uncle. So, I mean, I love Uncle Ralph. So, I want to stay on Uncle Ralph's good side. I do want to give a shout out to next week's guest coming up next Wednesday. His name is the lawman, Kyle Kennedy. And he says, gents, he also wants to remind me that I'm about the only guy who likes Young Horace. Well, I mean, it might be so.
We didn't say like, we said respected.
Okay, fair enough. I'll hold on to that dubious distinction. Travis Cox. I know Travis very well. He says good evening. And Travis, what's with the like facial expression? Is that a new Facebook picture? I feel like it's a new Facebook picture here, which I don't know if I'm digging so much here, but you don't look too happy in this photo.
Brother don't look happy.
Yeah, he don't look happy. I'm like, what's going on, man? What did
I think he's trying to do that. I think he's trying to do that smoldering thing, like
he's trying to do almost that like moody, like early 2000s emo vibe, like that. I don't know if it's in right now, but what do I know?
Looks like
Calvin Jakester has got something to say to you guys, and he says, "Are these guys my dads?" Boy, do you want to address that?
Not a good thing.
Shh, 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 shh. Just.
Not me. Although there was that one time I got really, really paralytic in Liverpool. So yeah.
All right, so I guess maybe we'll move on from that because I guess
swiftly
that was
on. Yeah,
that was an odd one here. I mean, Callum, I'm sure.
Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
Member of the Society or something like that.
The
yeah,
what?
he's been at some different companies.
The Society, they're one of NSOR's groups. Soon to be yesterday's news once the first class start clearing house.
I agree with that one.
Well, Mr. Majakester wants to say Liverpool in a question mark. I'm from Leeds, you pleb. I mean,
like I give a damn. Honestly, I really don't give a damn.
And I do want to also bring in, because we touched upon him. We did touch upon him. He's here, by the way. He is certainly here, and that is the Cult of Killjoy, Mr. Dan Robertson. He says, "Hey, it's my biggest fans." And anything you guys want to say to Dan? You want to say anything to him? He's here.
Do you want to take this one?
He's on next week, by the way. So I mean, be a little kind to him if you like.
Well, of course I'm being kind to him. I'm still picking pieces of his arse out of my boot. So,
ooh, yeah. Boy!
I think he's still got my handprint on his chest.
Yeah. So.
Should I ask him that live next week? Can we see proof of that? Should I ask him?
Possibly so, yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, well, that certainly could be on the agenda. I mean, all right, fair enough here. But I'll come back to the Society because they've got something to say. Liverpool, ew. And Callum Jakester says, yesterday's news, ? Funny, the Society has an open challenge going on April 29th. And speaking of the Society, I should bring this up at the top here. Tomorrow night, live with us, we're going to have Remus Kane is with us here from the Society. And Remus Kane, we've seen in some different places like UKW, Nonstop Action Wrestling. And Mr. Kane is going to be with us, and he'll have a lot to say. And I'm sure that he might address some of these things.
Kane needs to put a leash on his little puppy dog there before the puppy dog gets them into trouble.
I mean, is that a fair assessment for you guys? I mean, I see you want to jump in, Champagne Charlie.
They want to throw any challenges our way. We're more than happy to accept. It doesn't matter where or when it is.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean...
I'm sorry. I reject the challenge because these boys are no challenge.
Wow. Well, I would say this. Now, I'm a big fan of the Lawman Kyle Kennedy. I'm going to get his side of the story next week. He's got a comment. I mean, but I would say to your guys' credits, you guys do have 4 championships between you guys. Now, I don't know of too many people these days that have 4 championships between them. I mean, that is a very impressive resume. So I would say that you guys have definitely established yourselves, I mean, no pun intended, to be, well, first class.
We made an impression. That's all I can say. People have told
the name wasn't a happy accident.
Well, I could obviously see. I mean, you certainly backed it up. I mean, there's certainly much truth to that. I do have here a comment. What's on Charlie's face? Do you want to answer that before I get to some others?
Just something I'm trying out. What can I tell you? So
I say go for it. I mean, listen, you never know. I mean,
new year, new start. Thought I'd try something new.
Well, you know what? Listen, I mean, if it works, but let me get to the Lawman Kyle Kennedy.
When it takes, Charlie, I'm sure it will look fabulous. But at the moment...
Well, listen, I'll plead the fifth on that. And also, the Lawman Kyle Kennedy says, yesterday's news, oh, gents, you have no idea what you're capable of. So zip your flips before the F around and find out. Now, the lawman Carl Kennedy did have a big video that was posted all throughout social media, which addressed a number of different companies, and he's poised for a big 2023. We're going to have him on next week in your chair to talk about some of these things. I mean, do you maybe at least take these guys a little bit more seriously than, let's say, a Dan Robertson?
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
I respect them, respect where it's due, but at the end of the day, I don't like these guys. I've got nothing for them. Look, listen, if they want to try us, they'll just be another name on our illustrious career.
Listen, I've seen what they're capable of, and and I give credit where it's due. I mean, they like a pack of wolves. They fight together as a pack. I get that. I respect that. But here's the thing, right? It doesn't matter, right, how many pack wolves there are in the pack. When you face the elite of the first class, basically, you're asking for extinction. There we go.
Well, I guess then, as a famous album from the band Megadeth, could it be a countdown to extinction for the society? We'll have to stay tuned. Let me get to some more comments here first. My very good friend, Adam Morgan, who's out there in the southwest of the United States, who's going to be on here in a couple weeks, says, nice woo, good day, mates. And Adam's become one of my favorites on Sportswire. So I'm looking forward to being. Adam's always with me on almost everything I do. So I'm a big fan of Adam. This individual here, I don't know if maybe you know him or heard of him, says, you guys are absolutely awesome. The future of British tag team wrestling. And also, thank you for kicking Robertson's ass. Does that give you maybe, I guess, satisfaction knowing that there is fans out there that said, you know what, I was really happy you kicked Dan Robertson's butt? I mean, does that make you guys feel good?
It added more to our own satisfaction, basically, that we got the job done.
But absolutely. When we turned up at Non-Stop Action Wrestling, we went in with no expectations.
When you came on, yep.
The crowd really, really took us inside, you know.
I mean, at first, when they first saw us, obviously there was a few people. Obviously, they didn't know who we were at first, and you know, but as we went on with the match, I think they really adapted pretty much, you know, as time went on.
They really took to us, and as a result,
well, why shouldn't they have? Look at you two guys. I mean, you guys, first of all, first class and got 4 championships between them. Yeah, I would think that the crowd over there.
Soon to be more, hopefully. Soon to be more.
Oh, I have no doubt. Listen, you guys might need, I guess, like more duffel bags. You guys might need, I don't know, more suitcases. I don't know what you have to do. I mean, you have the problem that Kenny Omega has. I mean, Kenny Omega had the problem a couple years ago, and it was like, well, what do you have, 5, 6 championships? And, you know,
I'm just going to hire someone to carry them for me. I might have to hire a couple of somebodies.
Well, I guess that's kind of how the Click started. I mean, Triple H was essentially the bag carrier to Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels and Scott Hall. So, I mean, listen, you never know. I mean, not implying anything there, but Callum Jakester does have another comment. He says, I have better facial hair than Charlie. Just saying.
It's just starting out. What can I tell you? So, like I said, you give me time.
When you've reached my level of awesomeness, Callum, then we'll talk. But until then, shh.
Ooh, when they do that, that usually is not too good of a sign there.
The puppy dog is now starting to act like a bitch, and it's not endearing. So,
well, there was famously, again, because we do play music on Sportswire, a Godsmack song called "Crying Like a Fill in the Blanks," and that was actually about a tour that Godsmack and Motley Crue did, and the singer of the band, Sully Erna, had wrote that about Nikki Sixx, of course, the bass player of Motley Crue. So I'm not implying that Champagne Charlie's going to write a song about Callum Jakester, but who the hell knows anymore? Big shout out here to this person, because I know who they are very well. Savvy is watching, so that's always good news.
Little Savvy.
Apologies on that. Want to give Savvy a big shout out. The lawman Carl Kennedy. You got to jump in.
No, I'm just reading what Carl Kennedy said.
I'll read it off. Yep. So, boo! You don't like us? Oh, it hurts. No, wait, hang on. I couldn't give a damn. What do you think on that?
So sounding like someone actually giving a damn. So there we go.
Yeah, I think we touched the nerve there.
Yeah.
Maybe. Listen, I will ask Carl Kennedy the same question. We have here a couple comments. Leave wolves out what they ever do to you. Pick on fill in the blanks or fill in the blanks, because we are a family station on Sportzwire. And I know somebody will be out there and said, I heard you say this. Lackeys or donkeys or bandies? I'll plead the fifth.
Jeff's been drinking.
Well, I would say this, as I learned famously in law class in university, that's the one where I'll plead the fifth, meaning the Fifth Amendment, I'll say nothing.
Yeah, the right to silence.
That's what I learned. I didn't listen. I didn't learn much.
I'll say it. I think she had one too many Chardonnays this evening.
I'm going to plead the fifth on that, too, because like I said, I didn't learn much in university, but what I did learn in that particular case is to plead the fifth. Callum Jakester says, these guys are making me chuckle. We also
That's funny. Whenever I look at your picture, that makes me chuckle. You think you look good. You look like a punk.
Well, Savvy says hi, everybody. And Stephanie says, happy birthday to little Savvy coming up. And speaking of birthdays, I actually do want to go out there and give 2 birthday wishes before I ask you guys something on Nonstop Action Wrestling. The first birthday wish, I actually want to give the rock idol of the UK, Jenny Hayes, a happy birthday, because it's Jenny's birthday today. Jenny's birthday. Jenny, of course, does a great job. She does the ring introduction. She's got some new music out there, and obviously, big congratulations to her. Also, congratulations on her engagement to Joshua Stowe, the chairman of Nonstop Action Wrestling. So, good luck to them on their future. And also want to give a happy belated birthday to my friend Jacob Bard out there. Jacob gave me too long of a conversation earlier this morning. I'm like, dude, I got to go and talk to the champions here. You got to let me, rest my voice. But happy birthday to you, the Yak Attack, Jacob Bard. Also, Callum says, I look like a beautiful punk, darling. All right. Well, I mean, if that's, I'll ask you that question, Callum, when you come. But you know what? I want to come back to Nonstop Action Wrestling because you guys had this impressive performance and you guys dominate, right? You dominate Young Horrors. You dominate the Cult of Killjoy, Dan Robertson. But I was kind of wondering, I see Fatal Attraction coming up here. I see the different stuff that's going on. And I'll come back to the society as well. But, I mean, why not any mention of you guys? I mean, I would think with you guys after your dominant performance, that would say, you know what? We need the first class. We need them here. I mean, everybody has an opinion.
We have spoken with Nonstop Action Wrestling after the fact, and given the crowd's reaction to us, I think they are actually quite keen to have us back. Yeah. But I say talks are currently ongoing, so watch this space. You may very well see the first class of professional wrestling back at NSAW very soon.
Here's the thing, Brad. There's a couple of reasons why we've probably not been invited to take part in this tag tournament. Reason number one being, obviously, I don't know, maybe there's not much space when it comes to how many tag teams they can have there in a single night. Option number two, there may be not much space in the local hospital by the time we're done with them if we were there.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Is that, I guess, maybe that's shots fired, maybe in a way that what you're telling us here, correct me if I'm wrong, before I get to some more comments, that the Nonstop Action Wrestling management team is actually trying to do a favor to some on the roster by not putting you guys in the ring coming up at the
It depends on who's there. There are certain people in particular who have kind of tried to rub us up the wrong way. But the rest of them, though, we have no qualms with. Like I said, business is business. We do what we're signed to do at the end of the day. If people want to try and come at us and make things personal, then they're more than welcome to do that. But they better have the testicular fortitude to back it up.
All right, fair enough here. Let me come back to the lawman, Kyle Kennedy. He says, no nerves touched, but if you'd like, I'll touch your jaw with my fist and permanently shut you up. What do you guys make of that?
He must have had 3 Weetabix for breakfast this morning. Either that or he's been smoking something funny.
But let me come back. You know what? I could understand some of the thoughts with a Callum Jakester, but the lawman, Kyle Kennedy, I'm going to actually take his side for a second. Not so much against you guys, but hear me out. 2022, he had a big year. I saw him go toe-to-toe with Garrett Angel in GT Ministries in their Rumble, and he held his own. There were other people in Nonstop Action Wrestling, Dan Robertson, who you guys handled and crumbled him up like paper. Garrett Angel pretty much had a couple minutes with him and threw him out like yesterday's news, like you guys said, right? Jack Johnson also added on, kind of icing on the cake, right? But the lawman Kyle Kennedy, I've seen him go toe to toe with a lot of different people. He's not a joke, and he's a big man, the Nomad, Dalton Garrett. He's a young guy who's coming on, and look at what he did to Tommy Dillon.
Let's cast our minds back to Nuclear Winter, the Rumble. It took 6 people to throw me out of the Rumble, one of them being Kyle Kennedy.
And actually, I will admit this, Kyle Kennedy was the one who did eliminate me from the Rumble. So like I said, listen, we've not once taken anything away from the accomplishments. That's not what we're about. The accomplishments are there for a reason. However, like I said, if you want to try and come at us, then we're here with open arms for it. But like,
it is one thing to sit here in the comments section typing away, trying to get your digs in. But
I've had him on here, and he's done that with fellow wrestlers. I've seen him with Champ Rogers do that. I've seen him with Slugger Hampton do that. I've seen him here with Connor Cage. Listen, the lawman Kyle Kennedy, if there's one thing about him, he does stand for what he feels. He's not like some of these guys who, like you say, run into comments and talk about different people or hide under anonymous names. No, he does. Just giving him his props on this, he does say and backs up what he feels or attempts to.
Listen, look, Kyle, if you want to try me, brother, there's nothing between us but time and opportunity. You know who to speak to make it happen? You want to try the Nomad? Try me.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. I mean, listen, who knows what the future may bring? Hope very well could spring eternal. Let me get to some more comments here first. Yeah. Stephanie says, did the Nomad have fun being chased by a girl at Nonstop? I'm going to plead the fifth on this one again.
Not in that.
I'm used to women chasing me. I'm used to girls chasing me. It's nothing new.
Listen, I get it. You guys are world champions. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one as well. No alcohol, I promise. They would dominate the scene. The boss is giving everyone else a try. Well, that's my point, is that maybe that's something to consider. I do want to give a shout out to another one of my favorites who's a big man. We see him in CCW. That is Mr. BMD. And
good evening.
He handled a guy that was in charge of things, James Barris, and he pretty much crumbled him up like yesterday's news. He says, evening, lads. And he says, but he still sounds like Sean Connery, meaning the Nomad, Dalton Garrett. I think that's what he means with you, I believe. I think he says he still sounds like Sean Connery. Well, you do look a little bit. But you do look like him a little bit. You got the face and the facial hair. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to parcel it. Don't shoot the messenger. Listen, and I am trying to give you credit because, by the way, he says the lawman. Okay. He says the lawman sounds like Sean Connery. Okay. All right. Well,
we'll give you that one.
I was wondering where that was going.
Scottish so. Starts.
I was like, I was trying to parcel this out. I mean, but listen, that wouldn't be a bad thing because I will say, as a little kid, my father loved Sean Connery as James Bond, and I guess I was okay with him. Well, listen, he was a better James Bond than Roger Moore. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. But yeah, rest in peace, Sean Connery.
Yes, although I will say I probably am going to get laughed at for admitting this on the air. I did like the Duran Duran song, "A View to Kill," which I think Roger Moore has a cameo in that video. If you guys remember that video, but that's here nor there. But Callum Jakester says it took 6 people to eliminate me, but I still got eliminated. What do you want to say to that?
Means still got eliminated.
Yeah, okay. It took 6 people to throw me over the top rope. I got eliminated. So what? At the end of the day, the statement stands for itself. If it wasn't for the actions of those 6 people, I would have had my hand raised as the number 1 contender for the World Class Championship.
Yeah.
So don't get it twisted. 6 people had to eliminate me because if they didn't, that would have been the outcome.
Speaking of championships, we obviously, Non-Stop Action Wrestling, they've got their share of championships there, and they've got some more coming up with the tag division. Not only are we interested in tag team titles, whenever that may be, one thing that was really interested me as well, and I told Dalton this as well, I was keeping a very close eye on the whole Northern Division championship match that happened as well.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, and I'll talk about that for a second, and I'll come back to the lawman Kyle Kennedy. But that was something that came up with Disciple, who's the Nonstop Action Wrestling World Class Champion.
I saw it, yeah.
And the Northern Division title, which is held by Supersonic Sammy Blue right now, and it seems like the Irish Wonder Chris Murphy. We had them on as my last show of 2022, and they seem to be locked up in a rivalry. But I mean, would you guys want to add more gold to your resumes with something like the Northern Division? Is that something?
Absolutely.
Guys, talk to me about that. Talk to me about that.
May I say, as actually a Northerner by right as well, born and bred. Okay. I was born in the city of Salford, which is just outside Manchester.
And you and Jack Johnson have something in common then.
Yeah. Now here's the thing: the Northern Division, they only seem to be celebrating the best of Yorkshire, but they don't seem to be celebrating the whole North, which is kind of upsetting. So listen, I have respect for Chris Murphy, him being a fellow champion as well. So here's what I'm suggesting, and the management of Nonstop can do with this what they want. Okay, so they can have their match at Fatal Attraction with what they're having. Chris Murphy, Sammy Blue, gentlemen, this goes to the winner. I want first crack at that afterwards.
But some exciting times coming up at Immortal Wrestling, where we're both booked later on this year.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that for a second. So talk to us for those that are listening and watching here.
27th of May. 27th of May, yes.
Okay.
They just announced their tag titles. They've unveiled their tag team titles. So I'm quite interested to see who they've got in mind for, challenging for those. Because not being funny, Charlie, I think they'd look very, very good in our collection.
Absolutely. Tag teams all over the country have put their names forward, interested in that.
And let's talk about that for a second, because obviously this is a big deal. You see a lot of teams, a lot of interest in this. And I mean, for you guys, is that something where I know you guys have held a lot of gold between you two, but is that something where you say, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'd like to be a singles and a tag team champion together, because you see that sometimes in wrestling where wrestlers hold multiple titles and then they say, you know what, maybe I do want to go for it, maybe for different reasons, whether it's a mutual interest or it's a different thing that comes up. I mean, give me your kind of thoughts on this scenario here.
It is a thing, every time you get an opportunity, no matter what it is, whether it be in tag team wrestling or your singles wrestling, you never know when you're getting an opportunity again. So take the opportunity, no matter what it is. But here's the thing, Dalton and I are smart enough to know that we actually have a good chemistry together as a team. So why not try and bank on that as well? So, but here's the thing.
We can bang as singles, but we bang as a team. And at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, championship gold is championship gold. Doesn't matter if it's the main title, if it's the mid-card title, if it's the tag titles. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Whoever said less is...
It's all fodder for your resume. It looks good on the resume.
Yeah. And plus, whoever said less is more obviously never had enough.
Exactly.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I had a wrestler on this past weekend who hasn't won a singles championship in 17 years. I think he'd gladly take multiple championships. I think, listen, if there's an opportunity out there, and as wrestlers, you guys want as many opportunities, right? That's why we're all in it, right? We're all in it because we want gold.
You look at this. Here's an example. Ultimo Dragon, legend in the business.
I remember watching him in WCW.
Once held 10 championships at the same time. Yeah, there's a picture of him with all these title belts draped across his arms. All
right, well, let me get to some more comments because I got a few more. I want to give a big shout out to Connor Cage, who, by the way, held his own as well in Nonstop Action Wrestling.
I saw that. He was very, very impressive. It shows it doesn't matter if you're the biggest dog in the fight, as long as you have the biggest heart. And he certainly proved that. Like I said, we don't take accomplishments away from anyone, So he was really, really impressive. And like I said, if he ever wants to, step up, and take me on, I'd be more than happy to do that. You know what I mean? But like I said, I applaud, what he did, and hope maybe, who knows, we'll, stand across the ring from each other down the line. Well done.
For me, I want to turn my attention to the heavyweight division at NSAW, and I want to establish myself as the most dominant heavyweight there. So, Disciple, Carl Kennedy, whoever it may be. If you think you're big enough and hard enough, step to me.
Well, I mean, we'll certainly find out what happens with Disciple. Disciple's got his own issues to worry about starting up this weekend, and we'll find out more of that from our guest Thursday night. That is Bentley, the vigilante of pro wrestling, who was supposed to be here tonight, but he had a scheduling conflict and an issue, and we'll handle that at another time. Also, let me come back to the lawman, Kyle Kenny, because that's the other name you just mentioned. You're right. It's easy talking smack over a keyboard. I'll contact my people, you contact your people, and we can do this. Charlie with a question mark, Nomad a question mark, or both. I could care less. You're both on my bucket list and soon to be on the list of people I've beaten.
Bring it on. Bring it on. That's all I can say.
Step with me between the ropes and let the dice fall where they may. You talk a good talk, Kyle, but at the end of the day, mate, you don't have my caliber. You don't.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what. I mean, I would hope that management would be listening or watching this and maybe want to consider it.
I don't mind stepping in the ring with him, but here's the thing: because I saw Kyle Kennedy, I saw how big he was. I'd love to see him compared to Dalton. Yeah, that'd be a great clash of titans. That really would be fun to watch.
Well, I want to tell you this much, and I said this again when it came to Disciple and RPD. There was some talk there. If you want to put the lawman Kyle Kennedy and the Nomad Dalton Garrett in a match, if I have to put up my own pounds here, in fact, if I got to put them up right here. I'll put up those pounds to make that match happen. This would be a match that would sell a lot of tickets. And if you want to continue the momentum of nonstop action wrestling and sellout after sellout, you find a way. Regardless, you find a way. Listen, Joshua Snow, whoever else is out there, we got the pounds on Sportswire. We want to see heavyweights go out there because everybody likes a good heavyweight fight. And the Nomad Dalton Garrett and certainly the lawman, Kyle Kenny, would do that. And I want to give a big mention because somebody is here that was on Thursday who I kind of mentioned in passing. That is, of course, as I like to call him, my tribal chief. He is the head of the Sportswire radio table. He is a man who's carrying multiple belts in his own right. And his name is Disciple. And Disciple certainly has been doing a bang-up job, whether it's in GT Ministries or recently at Nuclear Winter. He was on the show, and he had defeated Tommy Dillon. And what's your impressions of Disciple now that he's got 2 world titles?
Nothing but respect. Very, very impressive. Like I said, I've known Disciple for a number of years, and you know he's only gotten better as time has gone on. Even more so now, like I said, now that he has the 2 heavyweight championships from 2 different companies.
And I would even say he's got better since he's come back in the last year. Go ahead, Nomad.
He's definitely got the caliber that, you know, if we were to look at extending the first class of professional wrestling to a stable, he'd definitely be one of the names right at the top of the list.
Well, he's got his own issues right now because he's got a championship match coming up this Saturday at the Fountains Church in GT Ministries, and then at the Tommy Dillon show, which you touched upon at the top, he's going to be wrestling somebody. I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but they kind of had like this ride-along series. It's on YouTube out there. The Playboy Prince Lance Rivera, who's got a crown, he's got a briefcase, and he's got the Wrestle Island World Championship. So I have a feeling, though, that Disciple is going to take care of business, and he's focused on those things right now. I don't know what his future would be.
There's an open invitation there. That's all I can say.
Well, I'm gonna say stay tuned, but I do know that Bentley is gonna have a lot to say Thursday about Disciple, and I have a feeling here that we'll be talking a lot about Disciple, and I want to make sure everybody follows Disciple Professional Wrestler on his page on Facebook, Disciple Wrestler on Instagram.
I think I touched on this the last time I was on, and I said as a champion, the second you've got that strap, it paints a huge target on your back. As part of a stable with people to watch your back, can only do good for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, it's funny you said that, and I do have some more comments. I'm going to get to everybody, I promise you. But I kind of think what you said rang true in what happened with Tommy Dillon. Because, and again, I'm not trying to disrespect Tommy Dillon. I know that certainly I've said some things, but he hadn't had experience with that world title. Now, he did the best he could, no question. He certainly a fighting champion and all the respect in the world. He was also the head trainer at Ensor. But I mean, Disciple is a guy, and you know this especially, the Nomad Dalton, Garrett. He has been a main eventer. He's been a movie star. He's been a world champion. He's been in there with the big names here in this country. He knew what he needed to do. And he also, on top of that, had all the momentum in the world of disposing of Gareth Angel. I don't even know if Gareth Angel can speak. I don't even know if he's out of a hospital bed here. I mean, and I think it is tough to being a champion, holding that title. You guys know how to do it. You guys have held it. But I think in the case of Tommy Dillon, it was tough, I think, to be able to live up to that pressure. What's you guys' thoughts on that?
Anytime you go into a match of that caliber where everything is on the line, then yeah, the pressure can get to you. I don't know what the case with Tommy Dillon was, whether he felt whether the pressure was too much, and sadly that led to a loss to Disciple, or whether Disciple was just too much for him to take on. Either way, the result remained the same. Disciple right now having 2 championships.
Yep, and he disposed of some big games. Yeah, God, Nomad.
I saw the match, and when things got going, it was fairly easy pegging. But when the match went on, it just became abundantly clear that Disciple was just too much for Tommy on the night.
And will Tommy Dillon ever get a rematch for the title? I don't know, but there we are. So.
Well, I think certainly, I mean, that's a topic of conversation that's going to be up to management. I mean, I can ask that question next week when we have on, speaking of guests, Joshua Snow, the chairman. He'll be on next week, and I'll ask the chairman that question if you desire. I mean, right now, though, I think we're all focused on let's see what happens when it comes to Disciple and his matches coming up here. Also, let me get to some more comments because I am behind. I promise everybody that I'll get to you. The lawman Kyle Kennedy in caps locks now says, "No, you don't come to my house and tell me to step to you. You step to me, fella." So that sounds like he's the one.
3 championships. I choose who I step to and who I don't. If you earn my time, that's fine. But at the moment, you've done a lot of talking. You haven't earned your spot in that ring with me.
Yeah, if someone shows the contract,
if you want to talk your crap, talk it, Kyle. But make no mistake, okay? You want something, you come to me because I'm the guy with the straps.
If someone comes to us with a contract and says that it's on, we'll sign it. That's all I can say.
I mean, look, that's certainly fair. Let me try to get to some more comments here. And I apologize to everybody because it's actually kind of a sunnier day here in New York, and the sun's kind of blaring in my eye.
Better than it's been over here, that's for sure.
Well, it was very cold the last few days, and all of a sudden today it's almost like spring. So it's weird. It's been a weird winter, but I'm not complaining at the moment. Anything can happen.
In the UK. It's been really wet today.
Well, we're getting that on Thursday. We're getting your weather on Thursday and Friday here in New York. So I'm sure when I have Bentley on, we'll feel wet then. Connor Cage says, anything can happen. I'm definitely up for stepping in the squared circle. Yep. Connor Cage is always a fighting man.
I'm definitely up to throw down if he wants to throw down, by all means.
Let me get to Andrew Hanley first. He likes to say good evening. Andrew is one of my favorites. I always love Andrew. But let me get to, and I hope I'm not poking the bear here, but let me get to a comment from somebody that I had on a few weeks ago, and it's a company I haven't touched upon, but it has done some work with Ensor. That is one half of the CCW Tag Team Champions, Dustin Hart of the CWO. And he says, the legend himself, the Reverend, yours truly, he says, good evening. But I want to ask this in a different context. I mean, you guys talk about other companies, but I mean, CCW, imagine you guys, the modern day mafia we touched upon with Uncle Ralph. And
listen, we'd definitely be up
we
going
extended
there.
The olive branch. We did actually extend the olive branch and say that we were interested in making our CCW debut.
Definitely.
So the offer is there.
If they want us, all they need to do is talk to us.
Yeah.
Do you think then that's a possibility that maybe somebody like a Dustin Hart heard this and said, you know what?
I'm a firm believer in never saying never. At the end of the day, our stock at the moment is high.
Yeah, anything is possible.
No question.
Anything is possible in this business. That's the thing. So.
And I do want to give. Okay, so we'll stay tuned for that. I will ask the CCW guys tomorrow when it comes to that because we have on Hybrid their underground heavyweight champion. So I will ask Hybrid and if he wants to fight different people from different companies, and I'm sure I'll get a fighting answer. And I have here this person who I think I might know, and he says here heavyweight division. He's a heavyweight who's apparently a big man wearing a big hat on his head here. And then I have a comment here.
Those are like cushions. I think those are cushions he's got on his head.
Oh, well, has anybody ever tried to wear cushions here?
It's a stack of cushions by the looks of it, yeah.
And I had here a bunch of comments where somebody tried to spam me and I deleted them. So sorry for whoever the person who tried to spam us. I do want to bring up the person that you guys were across the apron from this past month, and that was Young Horace. Anything you'd like to say to Mr. Young Horace?
Well, it says on here, right, no hard feelings. There were no hard feelings.
No hard feelings on my part. At the end of the day, Horace, it was just business. At the beginning of the match, we gave you the opportunity to walk away. We told you we were there for Robertson and Robertson only. We didn't have a problem with you. But you showed us what you were made of because
you have guts.
You were abandoned. You got in those. You stepped between those ropes. You stepped to Charlie and me, and mate, you went for it. You were banging. Unfortunately, you were facing two very large men, and your attack unfortunately came nothing. And I don't know if you remember because that chokeslam was pretty devastating. Yeah. But you were looking up at the lights pretty much for the rest of the match.
Yeah. All I can say is anytime you get yourself a better partner and more reliable partner, then by all means, come on back and we'll have one hell of a match. But like I said, try and convince your management to give you a better partner next time.
But
they certainly have their
extended in respect because you really showed your grit there, boy.
Indeed.
Really
I want to give Young Horace some due here for a minute. We're going to get him on next week. He's my guest next week on Sportswire in your chair. In fact, we have a lot of guests, but for sure, Young Horace, I want to give him his due because I don't know if you guys were aware, in UKW, he had this long streak where he didn't win a match and it carried over in some other places. And
I've been following it, actually. Yeah.
He's established himself, though, as a legitimate, credible guy who's got some wins under his belt, and he's a guy that you can't take him lightly, and he's shown the ability.
No, absolutely not. And if you watch our match, you nearly caught Charlie with a crucifix out of nowhere.
I will admit. I got a little bit cocky after Robinson up and vanished, and I almost paid for that, with the match. But here's the thing, like I said, I still respect Horace for what he did and what he can do. And like I said, down the line, I'm pretty sure, there'll be an opportunity where we'll cross paths again.
The kid can move, honestly. The kid can move. I was impressed.
He's a fighter. We kind of owe him an appearance on Sportswire, and there's a movie out there called Opportunity Knocks, I believe, and that's kind of where Young Horace's story is. But let me get to Uncle Ralph, because Uncle Ralph heard what I had to say about tag teams. And the modern day Mafia, we've seen them. I'm actually very familiar with them most in not nonstop action wrestling, GT Ministries, because we've seen the guys there, and they actually are, I believe, going to be a part of the Tommy Dillon show. Speaking of nonstop action wrestling, because
I've heard
the Playtime Mafia, and J-Ro Lewis was here in the house, and I got some comments, so I definitely poked the bear here. So let me go to Uncle Ralph first before I get to Dustin Hart. Uncle Ralph says, I'm sure my boys, the modern day Mafia, are willing to go against guys from other promotions.
Nice.
Now, these guys you'd have to take very seriously because these guys are big men. And Joel Cobra...
don't take anyone lightly, Tom. This is what we're saying. We don't take anyone lightly.
But there's a difference between Dan Robertson and a difference between Joe Cobra and Dave Douglas. That's just I'm just saying.
At the end of the day, to keep your product fresh, you need to bring guys in from external sources. having a reliable roster is all well and good. But once you've seen the same guys go at it a few times, the product may start to stagnate just a little bit. By bringing guys like us in who can go against a team of this caliber, at the end of the day, that's got box office marquee written all over it.
Yeah, because
I agree on that.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Every time, like, for example, take WWE, for example. Everyone likes seeing Cena versus Orton. It doesn't mean they want to see it 1,000 times over, unfortunately, like we have. But, it's the same case in the Indies. No one wants to see the same matches constantly. So you have to mix it up sometimes. And sometimes that means bringing in people from the outside.
I always like that. And one of the things before I get to Dustin Hart and a few more comments is we're here with the Nomad, Dalton, Garrett, and Champagne Charlie. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryson. If you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, give us a like on Facebook at Sportswire Radio, YouTube at Sportswire Radio. Listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. And I want to come back to something again on the promotions, because I really think that in wrestling, especially in our UK scene, I really think that the forbidden door, and I've said this before many, many times over the past 2 years, I think it should always be open. I think that companies should work with each other. I don't think that people should ignore each other. I think that if you look at what GT Ministries and CCW have done, I look at what GT Ministries and Nonstop Action Wrestling has done, I look at what Nonstop Action Wrestling and Blackheart Wrestling has done, I look at what Nonstop Action Wrestling and UKW have done, I look at so many different companies. You guys are from different places. And I think that that's what should be. I think that there should always be that opportunity. I look at what the LWF and the Kingdom of Wrestling have done, Odyssey and the Kingdom of Wrestling, KOW.
We said this last time we were here, and Dalton is a big believer of this. Wrestling, even though we beat the living crap out of each other quite a lot of the time, we're a community at the end of the day.
Right.
And the idea is to help, some people get ahead as much as we can. You know what I mean? Because
there are some really crappy people out on the scene who literally only have their interests at heart and what's best for them, what serves them. There are people out there like that, unfortunately.
Well, that's like, but you know what, though? That's like in life, though. But in life, you're going to find people like that.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, I mean, wrestling, I think, is art imitating life, very much so. Unfortunately, with wrestling,
I tell people all the time. Listen,
turned up to 10.
Listen, I tell people all the time.
There are a lot of snakes in the grass, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, look, that's unfortunate. And listen, I tell people all the time, I've spent time in the political world, and it's just like the wrestling world. It's literally the same exact thing. So I can tell you that when you guys talk about that, yes, unfortunately, there is that stuff. But let me get to some more comments here, because I got a bunch of people, and I do have a comment from management from Nonstop Action Wrestling. So
good.
This will be good, but let me run through these first, because I feel like I owe that to the people.
Yeah, of course.
Dustin Hart says, "We never say never. Doors are always open, and I'm sure if you contact the board of CCW, something could be worked out one way or another." And he also says, "Modern Day Mafia made a big impact in CCW because they disposed of the working class militia, who at one time were the CCW tag team champions." And he says, "But I'm sure in time, CWO will come face to face in the ring with the Modern Day Mafia." Also, I have here, Elma, I apologize here. Elma Melanik says, "Hello, guys," I believe.
Yeah. It's an odd spelling of saying guys, but yeah, hello.
Okay. Well, thank you, Elma, for tuning in. To Elma, right? Elma. Thank you, Elma, for tuning in. I appreciate that. And but let me come to management here, because management has something to say to you guys. So let me get the. Okay. I don't have the drum roll, so I'll just pull it off. Evening, gentlemen. Certainly would like to say we cannot wait to welcome back Dalton and Charlie in the future. Both incredibly humble and talented to boot. Wishing you all the best for 2023, and hope you'll be back in the asylum soon.
It's up to them to make it happen. That's all I can
say.
Thank
you very
We're
much.
Looking forward
that
to it. Yeah.
Actually means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't give a date, though. I'm just being objective. There's no date, though, on this. There's no timestamp date.
Like I said, it's up to them to make it happen.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, the fans at Nonstop Action Wrestling really, really took to us. If you don't have us back, you're only hurting your fans, really.
And wouldn't you think, though? But wouldn't you think? Now, let's leave aside the fans, right? You guys resume speaks for itself, right? 4 championships between you, probably more in the future. Look at what you did to Dan Robertson, young Horace. I mean, I see polls out there of different wrestlers. I see awards out there for different wrestlers. But wouldn't I want to think if I'm a promoter and I'm going to go and promote my show and my events coming up, that I would want 2 guys total between them that have 4 championships and have the resume? I mean, that's just me. What do I know, right?
Here's the thing, right? Everyone has their own mindset of how they want things to work. Just because they don't necessarily have something for us now, however, there may be an opportunity for us, down the line. So it's all a case of timing sometimes.
Yeah.
How long that takes, who knows? But here's the thing: it does. We're not going to be like henpecking trying to make it happen. All we can say is,
no, I'm not gonna beg of anyone. At the end of the day,
you don't look like a beggar. No, Matt Dalton, Garrett, you don't look like a beggar.
They know where we are. They saw what we can do. The fans took to us like that. The fans want us back. I want to go back.
Yeah, and they've
got guys on the roster who I think would make some very, very intriguing matchups, not just as tag teams, but also as singles competition as well.
Absolutely.
So, again, it's at their discretion. Whenever they're ready for us, I'm a phone call away, and it's only a 3-hour drive.
Exactly. I like to think we also gained quite a bit of respect in the locker room, and I respect a lot of people in the locker room there as well. So it's just a case of, if you want us, just call us and let's make some magic happen when it comes to these matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, I do want everybody to follow Nonstop Action Wrestling at NSAW Wrestling UK on Instagram, NSAW_UK on Twitter. Also, Facebook, Nonstop Action Wrestling. Also, join the Nonstop Action Wrestling Universe group as well on Facebook, Nonstop Action Wrestling on YouTube. I want everybody also to follow Champagne Charlie. That is Champagne Charlie Vintage 92 on Instagram. I want everybody to follow the Nomad Dalton Garrett also on Instagram. You can follow him at _Nomad Wrestler. Also, he has a page on Facebook, which we want everybody to follow. And please make sure to support these great wrestlers. And I'll come back to Nonstop Action Wrestling in a second. But if you don't mind me asking, I did see a company that announced you guys as a part of their roster, and that is Breakout Wrestling. And Breakout Pro Wrestling is involved with some friends of us here on Sportswire, like Lord Damian Stone from CCW, Slugger Hampton. We've seen him in Nonstop Action Wrestling. He's involved in it. And I mean, just talk about the announcement of you guys being a part of the Breakout Pro Wrestling roster and what that means.
It's a great opportunity, and we're really, really stoked and also kind of honored to be part of a brand new promotion, to be part of their inaugural show. So we are absolutely ready to go down there and blow the roof off the place. We don't know much about the match that we've got yet, or who our opponents are. That we can't really say much because as we don't know. But all I can say is, whoever steps across from us, listen, we are there to make a statement and, like I said, make an absolute impact. Because we're talking about we want breakout. We want this company to really break out and make everyone take notice, and that's what we're going to try and help and do.
Absolutely. If we can be just part of the workings to get this company off the ground, it's just an honor to be invited. It was a complete surprise. I didn't know anything about it until Charlie sent me the link saying, look where we've just landed a booking.
Yeah, I'd heard about the rumblings of this company starting up a few months towards the end of the year, I think September.
I want to say maybe late summer, early fall, because I remember actually on Sportswire we actually got some comments, I guess, from the individual that runs the company. So it's about that time, September.
And I messaged the promoter, and we had a bit of not constant, but here and there back and forths over the last few months. And then when me and Dalton started teams together, I said, I want to bring this guy in as well if you're interested. And we sorted out a deal, and hey presto, there we are.
And
it's a really
really exciting to be part of a new company. It's a completely blank slate. So literally anything can happen. And the fact that they work so closely alongside CCW, Non-Stop Action Wrestling, and the other guys in that area. Yeah, it's just it's really exciting, and to be a part of it again, it's just humbling. I say this word a lot, but the fact that at my stage in my career, people still want me rather than a lot of these young guys who can do all the flippy, hippy dippy stuff. The fact they want an old school ass kicker like me back, it's really humbling. Honestly, I can't put it into words.
Between the two of you, you got 4 championships, so clearly you guys seem to be doing pretty well. So I think that that's an acknowledgement to your work, and it's a really, really stacked roster. We've already seen some names on here. Martin Kirby, I mean, that's a big name.
That is a big thing,
Sheik El-Sham, I've spoke about the Sheik in the past on Sportswire. He's a part of it. Jensen Ryan, I know you know Jensen Ryan.
Yeah,
you know him very well.
I had a match with him only a couple of months ago, back in October, I think it was. Yeah, so that was great fun.
And I have one of my guests coming up this Thursday, Hammerhead Smith, who's in CCW. He's a part of the roster, and I'm very excited to see that.
I believe he was one of the first people announced for it as well.
I think he was the first, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think when I was on Facebook, one of the shows, I think he was the first name mentioned. So I believe you'd be correct, and we'll speak about that with Mr. Hammerhead Smith coming up here on Thursday's show. And then I've got Disciples also announced as part of their roster. I mean, who knows what happens there? And also,
we are starting to get busy. It's nice that our calendar has started filling up. So if we can add CCW to the list of places we're going,
or UK wrestling,
yeah. If we could add these places to our diary.
The LWF. How about the LWF, the Kingdom of Wrestling?
Yes.
Listen, Knockout Wrestling, KOW. I mean, there's a lot of companies out there.
Definitely.
All right, well, let me get to some more comments here. First, Dustin Hart says, great catching up with you guys. Stay safe and support your fellow wrestling companies. Yes,
absolutely.
Agree with that, Dustin. I'll probably see you tomorrow because your partner in the CWO hybrid, the world champion of CCW, will be in the house right around this time. So look forward to that. I want to give a shout out to Michael Knowles, who was at the Nuclear Winter Show. He says he lived true to what he said. Nomad did, and what it was great to shake your hand. You remember shaking Michael Knowles' hand?
I do. He gave me a wave as we came in. And extended the hand. He shook it nice and firm, and it was an honor to meet you. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Well, what a gentleman there! And did you get a handshake from Michael also?
I think I did. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. And like I said, it was a lot of, it was, like I said, we were still, focusing on, every time you go into a match, you're in that kind of mind zone.
I know. I'm friends with the wrestler in House of Glory, Chris Urban, and he's like, when you see him, it's like, excuse my French, get the F out of his way. I mean, I'm friends with the guy. I know.
We love the fans. Don't get me wrong. We love our fans. So.
Oh, I can clearly see that.
The fans are the reason I still do this. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not doing it for my health. Believe me, the aches and pains I wake up with every day, I'm not doing it for my health. It is literally for the fans. And that being said, I mean, we've got a special wrestling show coming up this Saturday.
Well, let's talk about that before I get to Non-Stop Action Wrestling. Talk about the show. Let's promote it here for a few minutes.
Probably one of the most sweetest fans ever,
Tatcha, who was on earlier, who was in the comments section, her little daughter, Savvy.
Tasha Carberry.
Yeah, little Savvy, she's not having a great time of life at the moment. She's got a lot of stuff going on in her personal life. And she's not really a guy person, but within 10 minutes of meeting this little girl, I was the best thing since sliced bread. I was Barney the purple dinosaur to this little kid. We struck up a friendship, and it's her 5th birthday this Saturday.
Oh, happy birthday, Savvy. My niece is also turning 9 on the day before, so happy birthday to little Savvy.
So as part of her wrestling party, me and Charlie are in attendance, to celebrate the right way, shall we say?
Oh wow!
Yeah. I've lost the sound.
Oh, do you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
I was gonna say, anything you wanted to add there, Shaw? You wanted to?
It's going to be a great opportunity. She was such a sweet little girl, and she made these signs. I still have mine here somewhere, but she made signs.
Yeah, I've still got mine as well.
Nearly all the wrestlers who were on the show. It was really, really good work, and she was just ecstatic, to be part of it all and meet all the wrestlers, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her this Saturday and seeing what the whole event's going to be like. You know what I mean?
Because very, very little has been announced about it. I think we're going to find out a lot of what's going on.
I'll tell you what, I'm on the air tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So if anybody wants to give me a message, if there's any details, anything I can do on the event, I'm happy to share that, because like I said, I will be on a couple of different times throughout the week before Saturday.
If there are matches,
if you're still on here, sweetheart, hit Tom up with the details, and he'll promote it for you.
I don't know if these matches are if there's any matches going to be impromptu. I'm really not entirely sure. But
okay, well, if there's anything I could do, certainly feel free to DM me. I'm on Facebook. I almost never turn my phone off. So if there's something,
it's like 9 o'clock here in the UK. I'm not sure if little Savvy's still awake and watching this, but if she is, looking forward to seeing you at the weekend, sweetheart.
All right, well. Well, certainly anything I can do. I do have a bunch of comments here. So first, let me come back. Go. I got a bunch. Nonstop Action Wrestling says, you want it, we want it, and the people want it. We'll make it so. So it sounds excellent. Like we can work on a deal. Michael Mills says, hey, whether you did or did not, you beat up that coward, which I proved he is a coward, meaning...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, yeah.
Uncle Ralph says it would be good to see these guys at CCW, more so if they lock horns with MDM. James Barris, let me tell you something. James Barris.
It's here, man. It's here. CCW.
Yeah.
You guy wants to bring it in.
He works with Sportzwire. All right? I'll make sure that Mr. Barris does hear this one. All right? Mr. Barris certainly is somebody that we've worked with for a long time on Sportswire. And I'm sure that the message is being relayed to Mr. Barris as we speak. So if there's a will, there's a way. That's the old expression.
We look forward to your call, Mr. Barris.
Knowing Mr. Barris, he probably is on a call right now. And knowing Mr. Barris, he will probably call at some point. And if not, I will certainly ask him about it. Tasha says, my little Savvy. She doesn't trust Easy, but she's obsessed with you. Happy birthday to my niece. Thank you very much. Yeah. She can't wait to see you both.
And we can't wait to see her
as well.
She's jumping all over as we speak. She says, big secrets, meaning the show, but keep your eyes out for the belt. I appreciate that very much.
I've seen this belt. So... I'm not going to say anything about it now, but there is a new belt being unveiled at the party at the weekend.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
I'll tell you what, that sounds like it's going to be a party like no other party. I mean, so that seems like a party that if you got the invite, you're going to certainly be in the in crowd, to say the least.
Indeed.
Ain't no party like a Savvy party, I'm telling you.
I'll tell you what, that's why we love Savvy on Sportswire. Savvy's one of our favorites, certainly. Lucky to promote this event. Michael Lowe says there's plenty of opportunities to give us a handshake.
Yeah, well, Michael, next time you're there, bring it up front and center. Right,
well, we brought it up on the show at Disciple to Michael because he wasn't sure. He didn't think he was coming to Fatal Attraction. I mean, we don't know if you're going to be there either, but... certainly, we think Michael will be there at one show coming up. We don't think it's going to be Fatal Attraction, but I'm sure there'll be shows down the road that we'll see Mr. Knowles at. Dustin Hart says, taking the extra step to make the fans happy. Wow, much respect. So he definitely respects you guys.
Thanks, man.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, bro.
You've got to give the people what they want.
Tasha says she'll get MX Knights to message. She is X. She blew a kiss, back XX. The lawman Kyle Kennedy does have to say, in kind of response, I do this for the fans. Stop. You're making me want to vomit. Who gives a damn about those sweaty mouth breathers?
I do.
I do as well.
But there is a point though. Some wrestlers
if you're only in this for yourself, this is Yuka. This is why you're still not a champion. And even if you win a belt, it doesn't make you a champion. Being a champion means you put others above yourself. You make yourself available when people need your help. You do things for other people. It's not all about you.
You go the extra mile for the fans.
If you ever win a strap, you may be a champion on paper, but to me, you're a punk.
Well, let me get to some comments first, because apparently the bear has been poked.
Okay.
When it comes to CCW's here. Ooh. They're here.
Okay.
They say someone mentioned CCW?
Yes.
No, we mentioned CCW. We love CCW. We would be honored to be a part of CCW. Make it happen, Captain.
Anything else you want to say to those that may be in power for Mr. CCW, Mrs. CCW?
Listen, if you want good quality entertainment and also hard ass, beat down skills, you look no further than Champagne Charlie and Dalton Garrett. The first class. We are willing and ready, and it doesn't matter whether it's singles competition, tag team competition, strap matches, cage matches, anything you want us to do, we can do it. And
I'll even come as a special guest referee. I don't care.
Well, can I bring up something for a second? Can I bring it up now that we have Cutlery Championship Wrestling here with us, and we will have more coverage from the company tomorrow, again, 9 o'clock British Standard Time with Hybrid, the CCW Underground World Champion, is that Dan Robertson's actually going to be at the CCW Rumble coming up here, the Cutlery Rumble.
Yeah.
And
I saw that.
I mean,
he ain't going to be in
Dan
it.
Roberts, and these guys, by the way, I mean, they crumbled him up like paper.
Yeah. Zoom, what was that? That was Dan Robertson running.
I mean, if he's in the Rumble...
No, it's Dan Robertson.
If Dan Robertson's in the Rumble, what about these guys right here? Champagne Charlie and the Nomad Dalton Garrett combined 4 championships between them.
Right there.
Ooh. Well,
I can't be bothered to get mine. They're chilling out at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, you got a lot of them. Let me get to some more comments. Let me get to now Breakout Pro Wrestling, because Breakout Pro Wrestling, the bear has been booked to them. Evening, gents. Happy to have you both representing Breakout Pro Wrestling at our first show on June the 11th, which we'll be covering, of course, here on Sportswire.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one.
It's on my calendar with a big red circle around the date.
I remember those big red circles on the calendars. Yeah. I remember those. All right. Well, anything else you guys want to add to Breakout Pro Wrestling?
Like I said, we are humbly honored that you've chosen us to be a part of your first ever show, and we will pull out all the stops to give you the best match possible that we can give. Like I said, whenever you're ready to announce who our opponents are, we look forward to it. And like I said, we will tear the house down.
I just hope that our opponents bring their A game, because I'm bringing mine. For a first time out at Breakout Pro Wrestling, they're not going to believe what they see. You're going to see the Nomad at his slick, shoot fighting, kick-ass best.
With Champagne Charlie as well, breaking heads and then breaking open the bubbly.
Ooh, I'll tell you what, this could be a side of things to come. I do want to give Tasha a quick shout out before I get to more comments. Savvy says good night to everybody. Good night to you as well, and happy birthday. Also, Dustin Hart says
on Saturday.
We'll anything else we can do, we'll be here a few more times throughout the week. Dustin Hart says, looking forward to seeing what Breakout brings to the wrestling scene. I'll ask Dustin that question when he comes back to Sportswire next month, and he'll be in the ring coming up defending his tag team championships coming up here at the CCW show on January the 28th.
This is the great thing about the indie scene. No two companies are the same. Everyone has got their own unique individual identity. Yeah. They all have their own thing going on. Nothing feels carbon copied. Nothing feels rinse and repeated. It's just really fresh, and it's just a really, really good thing to be a part of. So absolutely. I can't wait to get to Breakout in June. It's going to be off the hook.
It's going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Absolutely. We look forward to anything that Breakout does here, because we'll, I'm sure, be covering it on Sportswire. Want to give a big shout out to Matt Maxwell. He says, thank you guys, and thank you, Dustin, my friend. Dustin Hart also says here, make it happen, meaning himself. Also, can I come back to CCW because they've responded?
Of course.
Sure.
Go ahead.
All right. So these guys love CCW. Well, first, I want to say I'm humbled. Secondly, we may be in contact very, 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 very soon. Gentlemen.
That's a lot of berries.
What?
This is unbelievable.
I'll repeat it again. So these guys love CCW. Well, first, I want to say I'm humbled.
Oh, mate, I can't wait.
Absolutely.
Literally, the second that phone, I don't think it's going to even ring once. I'm telling you, it's going to be there.
Yes, I'll be jumping for the phone. Hello. Yeah.
That reminds me of that old Lionel Richie video where he's kind of like trying to get the girl and he goes, hello.
Yeah, except less creepy. Yeah.
True.
Oh,
Duly noted. Fair enough. Michael Knowles says, regardless if it's Fatal Attraction or future shows, I will see plenty of shows in the future. Touche, fair play.
Yeah,
and hopefully we'll be there for a lot of them, so we can't wait to see you again, Mikey.
Well, I have a feeling that there'll be some places that'll, I'm sure, take your services. Tasha says, I can certainly say Savvy is one very happy fan. The lawman Kyle Kennedy says, screw you and screw the fans and screw Savvy. So the
okay, you crossed the line there. You've crossed the damn line.
Mr. Kennedy, I'm fixing to part your ass like the Red Sea and my foot is Moses.
Oof. Well, let me get to some more.
And I'll be the burning bush laughing my ass off. So, yeah.
Well, I've got far more comments here. So people, they seem to be, I'm an hour and people are more fired up than they were at the beginning. I mean, that shows you what you guys.
This is what I mean. We seem to be quite popular wherever we go.
Yeah,
I tell you what, you guys have fired up the people. I mean, Stephanie says, "Oh, the muscles. When you flexed your muscles there, yeah, she liked the muscles. So that could be something there you might want to maybe figure out. Yeah, they're big. I'll tell you that. They're big. I'll give you that. CCW board, bring these guys to our show. Let them prove what they are saying. Well, that's Dustin's endorsement.
Listen. If we are willing to write the checks, we want to try and bank them as well. So, like I said,
CCW, they business is pretty good from what I hear these days. So I'm sure they can figure it out. Michael Knoll says we will cross paths again, and as it was nuclear winter, it's always an honor to meet gentlemen such as yourself.
Thank you very much.
Dustin Hart says, looking forward to seeing you guys in CCW.
Yeah.
Also from Uncle Ralph. Make it happen, James Barris. Get them up for a meet with MDM. I'll even throw it out there. I mean, who knows? Number one contenders for the CCW Tag Team Championships. I mean, these guys have certainly proven themselves. I mean, that could be just thrown out there. I mean, what do I know, right? I'm not the promoter.
Only time can tell. Who knows?
Yeah, thank Ralph. I can't wait to meet you and shake your hand.
Thank you for that endorsement. That's all I will say.
Uncle Ralph's he knows his stuff, Uncle Ralph. I can promise you that. Tasha says, how rude.
I'm meeting Kyle Kennedy, I think.
Yes,
yeah.
And Stephanie goes on, said, bad Kyle Kennedy, leave Savvy alone, girl. The lawman Kyle Kennedy, though, does say, I don't give a crap about your opinion. Win, not if win. I get my hands on a championship. I'll be a champion of the society, not the people. The people don't matter. The society is all that matters to me. And the lawman Kyle Kennedy has always said, the society is everywhere.
Society's rise and fall, my brother. The people are an absolute.
Absolutely.
All right. Connor Cage chimes in and says, Kennedy forgetting the people who got him to where he is. No surprise.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I also I have some more news. I do have another CCW development here, but let me get some more comments here because I'm getting them hit left and right here.
Here we go.
Tasha says here, dare you say it to her face, Mr. Kennedy. Michael Knowles says, normally I don't call people out, but Kyle, haven't you lost like 3 matches? You want to make it 4.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, owned! Owned!
Hey, listen. I'm gonna.
Do you want some aloe vera for that burn, bruh?
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna plead the fifth because I gotta hold it in because CCW want to talk to you.
Okay.
In fact, the very soon, maybe. Now, the 28th of January, the Colory Rumble. Winner has a date with any champ of their choosing at Miners Mania 2, which is almost like the CCW WrestleMania. Let's get in touch and sort out the small, finer details. And let's try and make history. Could the 28th be the date that we see you guys at CCW?
Unfortunately not. I'm actually booked on the 28th. I'm at EWA in High Wycombe.
Sadly, it won't be this time. But listen, we definitely want a future opportunity. That's for sure. But like I said, anytime after that, we are more than happy to come on down. Right, and we don't. It doesn't matter what opportunity you want to give us. We just want an opportunity. You give us.
CCW would indulge me. Me and Charlie are putting an open challenge out now. CCW management, you set the date. We will take on anybody you choose. And It doesn't matter if it's a tag match, singles match, slobber knocker, whatever you want, elimination match. You name it, we will be there.
Absolutely.
So I think then, ladies and gentlemen, maybe, just maybe, a challenge has been thrown out there by the First Class Champagne Charlie and also the Nomad Dalton Garrett. And I have a comment from somebody in CCW that has responded to this.
Okay.
Let me get to his first comment before I do anything. That is Prince Dagan, and Prince Dagan is the CCW Light in the Dark champion there. And he says,
I know who Prince Dagan is.
And I'm familiar with
I got a few more people that have tuned into this because the word has traveled.
I'm familiar with that championship as well. And someone who I wrestled at Immortal held that title. A guy called Curtis Elliott was that champion. And that championship does look quite...
We've covered that. Yes, I had a feeling that this would kind of be something. And the Prince says, and by the way, as you guys know, the Prince...
I have to say, this snowballed quite quickly.
I was going to say, because the Prince usually... I've interviewed Prince Dagan. He only speaks... He must speak in Latin, because he's speaking... I guess this is in Latin also, because he says anybody. He says anybody, and then Dustin Hart says... Sound tempting.
Oh, this has escalated really, really quickly.
This kind of got out of hand.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you want to keep going?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's keep doing this. Yeah.
Keep that camera rolling.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, listen. I mean, if you are out there on the CCW page, I mean, I'll have to share our interview here. And if you want to talk about these guys and you want to figure out what they bring to the table, I mean, let's
go absolutely viral with this.
Let's do it.
And he says, Dustin ? Dagan ET Dustin 1 Teamus. I don't know if that's directly toward
I believe
you
that
guys.
means Dagon and Dustin one time.
Yeah.
Would that mean one time against you guys?
Possibility. It's a possibility. Who knows? Yeah. Like I said, anyone.
Well, the Lawman Carl Kennedy would like to talk. He says, I got me here, not the people. I'm the one with the talent.
This guy's still here? Oh, yeah.
You want to say anything further to him?
I just said this guy's still here. Yeah.
And I have a message here from CCW. Can a member of the CCW administration page accept my live on our page? Yes, because we wanted to share it, which I believe we are now on the CCW page. And I want to reiterate here the announcement that you guys, meaning the First Class Champagne Charlie and the Nomad Dalton Garrett, have extended an open challenge to anybody. Now, is that correct? Do you want to reiterate that for those that are watching, listening to this here live? This is basically, this is a shoot. This was not planned before we went on the air.
Not planned at all. This is completely legit. Listen, whether you want to book us in 2 separate singles matches against 2 of your top guys, or you want, or like I said, we're a team as well. If you wanted to bring us in as a team to face either 2 guys put together or one of your teams, just any form of competition. Like I said, sadly we can't do the 28th as we've got other plans. But going forward, anytime you want us to.
Now, can I also make the declaration, could that also extend, because there is an offshoot to Cutlery Championship Wrestling affiliated with CCW, and that is Carnage Championship Wrestling. That is run by the gentleman thug Ronnie Thatcher. He is their champion. They have a show coming up here. They are running shows as well. So there is other CCW stuff out there as well that you guys maybe might want to be a part of as well with that.
We're prepared to go wherever we're wanted. So CCW, Carnage, Non-Stop Action Wrestling, Immortal Wrestling, WAW, PCW, Lion Pro. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're a phone call away, and we will come.
If we're asked to wrestle in Timbuktu, we'll make it happen. Okay, so yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, I do have a bunch more people that have tuned in. Let's get to some more people. Stephanie says talent ROFL. I'm not going to repeat that. I do want to bring up somebody, I guess, that's heard the challenge but isn't affiliated with CCW, and this is from Wrestling Appreciation Society. Matt Royale. Yes. Good evening, gentlemen. Anything you want to say to Matt Royale?
Good evening, good sir. Yes,
thanks for tuning in. It's an honor to make your acquaintance. You've been doing some big things on the scene. It's just an honor to make your acquaintance.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. I certainly appreciate the facts there. I do want to also bring up Michael knows before I get to another follow-up on CCW. Michael says, I clearly burned Kyle severely, that he has no comment. He must need water. Let me bring up those CCW again for a second, because that has certainly been a big topic here as we've hung out here for a while with you guys, really in part to kind of this whole big thing that has shook up a lot of people right now. They have a few different champions. Obviously, Hybrid's tomorrow's guest. He's the current world champion. Prince Dagan, you saw, is the light and the dark champion. Dustin Hart is one half of the tag team champions. I mean, do you want gold in CCW? Do you just want
gold anywhere we can take it?
We want gold anywhere, and we're prepared to travel for it, Rev. At the end of the day, as I said, if these guys want us, we're more than happy to make the trip. We do this because we love the business.
Absolutely.
We do this because we want fresh competition, and we do this because we know what we bring to the table, and we want to drive professional wrestling on.
Because not to get too serious here, but sadly, everyone in this business knows we have a limited time of amount of time we get on.
You have a bump card. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. We have a bump card, and it can go off any time. I have parts of my body that click every single day when I make the slightest movement sometimes. You know what I mean?
So when you want to see my x-rays.
Yeah, but so here's the thing. We take any opportunity we can whilst we still can.
I did last year prematurely announce that I was hanging up my boots because I thought I'd got to a stage where the time was right to walk away.
And he had a really bad injury. He had a really bad arm injury.
Where I blew my bicep off the bone. But the business grabbed hold of me and brought me back in. The business isn't done with me, so I'm not done with the business.
Well, it don't seem like it right now. Well, it does not seem like it.
Seems like we're hot property at the moment.
Well, let me come back to CCW, because certainly CCW, they have something to say about it. I like the determination and attitude these guys are displaying. I think the modern day mafia need to keep their eyes open, because it may be something we may see very soon.
Ooh.
That's
I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that.
I love the sound of that. I can't believe that this has happened. I mean, I know we've tentatively taken steps to get on board,
and we took a shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let me ask you guys a follow.
You
know what? Let me ask you guys a follow-up question though, and I want to talk about this because obviously CCW is a little different than some of the talent here that you mentioned, whether it's Dan Robertson or other places where we mentioned different names, Callum Majakester and CCW. The talent there in this company speaks for itself. When you throw out challenges or names, the modern day Mafia, since they've come to CCW, now I covered them in GT Ministry, so these guys I know. I can tell you, I've covered these guys.
I've watched their stuff.
I've watched
They're very
them.
impressive, yeah.
When you talk about the CCW roster, whether it's the CWO, whether it's Pandemus, whether it's anybody else that they have to offer, I mean, when you throw challenges out there, this is like you're going up to guys that are in your league. I mean, what do you think about some of those things that I'm talking to you about just now?
If you remember when we spoke last, I said the only way that you get better in this business is by competing against top talent. The fact that CCW clearly see something in us that think that we are worthy to be hanging with their guys and girls speaks volumes. So they've extended the olive branch. I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to beat the modern day Mafia to death with it.
Here's the thing. This is my 7th year in the business, right? And I still am outstanded, by, in the last year, like I said, things have really started to take off for me. And every time I get an opportunity, it is still a great, honor for me to take part. So I always like meeting new people regardless and be able to work with new people in this business.
Would you be concerned though that in CCW the talent you may take on might feel motivated to kind of defend their turf?
I would certainly hope so, because if you're not defending your home promotion, what's the point being there?
Okay, no, listen, but that's a question. Listen, when Disciple was taking on Tommy Dillon, that was the question posed from some that wanted Tommy Dillon to win. So, I mean, there was that point. I do have some more comments here. Uncle Ralph says, always remember my mantra, old is gold. Dustin Hart says, we are the CWO. We never back down, never retreat, never surrender. We take on everyone from everywhere. Prince Dagan says, Sumus Liliac, Sumus CC effing W. And then the lawman called Kennedy, sure, Michael, I'm the one who must need water. When you're the Muppet that looks like they haven't showered in decades, you disgusting sweatbag, there's a reason you sit down and pay to see me. So hush. So certainly that's
who says he's paying to see you? Carl, you talk like you're the only person on that roster, bro. You ain't the only game in town. There are other guys on that roster as talented, if not more talented than you. You're talking. For a guy who's talking, you're not saying very much, Kyle. Seriously, bro. You need to back it off now, yeah? You want to do something? I'm here. Speak to the management. You and me for NSAW next show. I'm going to shut your mouth.
Champagne Charlie, I want you for the CCW crowd that's going to see this. Show up your championship, and why you coming in here is going to be a big deal.
It's a big deal. A big deal because, like I said, I have no qualms in.
And how long have you been champion here? How long?
Immortal Wrestling Fighting Champion, 268 days. I have had 3 successful title defenses. I would have liked to have been more, but sometimes communications when it comes to trying to get bookings in certain places can be hard. I've got another title defense next month at the Great British Wrestling Alliance, which kind of like Non-Stop Action Wrestling is a company based for charity, that kind of thing. They do great charitable causes, and the shows they put on. I'm defending this title against a good fighter called Madman McLaren, who is legit fighter. The guy has had an MMA background, cage fighting, and he's taking his hand at pro wrestling, and he is really, really good. And I look forward to having this match with him.
The Nomad Dalton Garrett, tell us the championships that you're holding currently, so the CCW roster and their fans know.
So I've got the Full Throttle Wrestling Undisputed Heavyweight Championship, the Full Throttle Wrestling UK Intercontinental Championship, and the WAW Southside British Championship.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, CCW has got a stacked roster, but between these guys with 4 championships and who knows what else they could bring to the table, it could very well be some class added, some first class added to CCW. And of course, as always, I want everybody to follow Colory Championship Wrestling. That is Colory Championship Wrestling on Facebook, and their group as well. Also, Champagne Charlie Vintage 92 on Instagram. Also, the _ Nomad Wrestler on Instagram as well. So if you're hearing from these guys the first time, that's their social media pages. Please follow them, support these guys. Also, Prince Dagan says, Prince Dagan, Light in the Dark champion. Also, ACW, I think I believe.
Outer Hebrides champion.
Okay, so thank you for the translation. The lawman Kyle Kennedy says, how about I make your little favorite Savvy cry by crippling you Saturday right in front of her? So I guess maybe a declaration. The lawman Kyle Kennedy might be at this thing on Saturday, so stay tuned for that. Michael Knowles says, I find it funny how you run your mouth, but do you really have the nerve to say this to my face? If I remember when I said 6-1, you said you're living in the past. I said 6-2. You told me to say it to your face. I stood up, but you went in the ring. Who's the real coward? Clearly not. Me, you need a new diaper. I thought it smelled something funny. I'm going to go plead the fifth on some of that. Is there anything else, though, that you guys want to say here to CCW before we move on to closing thoughts? Anything else you guys like to address? Because this is where their roster now is pretty much fully tuned in. They're going to see this if they haven't already. So there's a lot of people that are in here.
I live to entertain people. Yeah, that's all I can say. I've had I've had backgrounds in acting and stuff like that, but wrestling is a great form of not only sport but entertainment. But I live to entertain a crowd, and it doesn't matter where it is. But if you give me the opportunity, I would love to be able to put on a show and entertain your crowds for you. And I'm sure Dalton could very much say the same there.
I'm just humbled that you guys reached out the way you did and put it on the public forum like this. It touches me here that you guys see something in an old git like me. Clear, Charlie's got the caliber. Charlie's got the talent. It's just humbling for me that you think that I can actually bring something to your roster.
You've still got it, man. Come on, yeah, you've still got it.
Look how big you are. Come on, you're a big man. Trust me. If I saw you in a back alley, I'd run the other way. I'd just give you my pounds here.
Here's the thing, though, Tom. What people don't seem to realize is this about me, and you can ask Joshua Snow this because he said it as well. He didn't realize how tall I was.
I was gonna say the same thing. What are you, 6'3"?
6'2", yeah. But
I thought that because when I saw some of your footage, I'm like, wow, you know what? He's a lot taller than maybe people realize.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, so we're both gigantic, forces to be reckoned with.
Well, I'll tell you what, that would make you guys would match up perfectly with the modern day Mafia because both those guys are about your range. I mean, they're basically. I mean, that would be a match where would be 4 behemoths. I mean, that would be a match I think would be one idea.
They needed to reinforce the ring for that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the match I saw in wrestling in the UK where that actually happened? It was a match I know it happened. I know obviously SmackDown famously it happened with Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle years ago, but I know it's happened at some point. But let me get to a few more comments here. She'll get her own back.
She will.
Matt Royale says.
Yes, she will.
Matt Royale says, on behalf of Wrestling Appreciation Society, I will be in touch with you gentlemen. I have a little business. Boy, you now have another company now that looks like that. Wow. They want to get in the action. You can have another one that wants to talk to you guys. I mean, boy, the list is going on and on and on and on here. And who knows what else the future brings. The lawman Kyle Kennedy says, don't appreciate I wasn't invited to this party, by the way, but I'll turn up and we can celebrate my birthday, which is on Friday instead of
No one cares.
No one cares.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm going to wish him a happy birthday because he's coming on the show next Wednesday. I will give him a very happy birthday, and I'll make sure I give him a good wish here as well. So I'll make sure.
I'll bring him a present.
I knew that one. So that would be the old line when we were told in the school you get a gift, and they would say like a knuckle sandwich. You're saying knuckle sandwich.
Yeah.
I didn't like those too much. They didn't taste too good for me. I used to get those at home. I grew up in Brooklyn. I used to get a few knuckle sandwiches from my old man at the time. Who was a big man like you, the Nomad Dalton. And I'm not short myself. I'm 6 foot. So, I certainly took a few in the chin. But hey, that's why I'm here and you're there. Dustin Hart says, hey, you're only as old as you feel. I can vouch for that. Well, I'm not going to comment on people's ages because I think Dustin said, old is gold. Prince's venom doesn't play nice. Okay, well, you know what? We've certainly
That's a spoiler alert.
I like that. Prince's venom.
To recap in here before we get to closing thoughts, Champagne Charlie and the Nomad Dalton Garrett, we're going to see them in Immortal Wrestling May the 27th. We're going to see them part of. What's that?
So, yes, absolutely. So, Charlie's defending the Immortal Fighting Championship, and I'm facing off against Damien, and I believe another person's been added to the match, and that's for the National Heavyweight Championship. So, watch this space. Dalton Garrett may well have 4 titles by himself before the year is out.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, championships galore, and we'll see you guys later this summer in Breakout Wrestling as well, June the 11th. And
can't wait.
Who knows what else?
Wait.
Yeah,
Nonstop Action Wrestling has confirmed that you will be back at some point. And CCW, the breaking news that it looks like you guys could be in the thick of things there, and that's a company that has run sellout after sellout. They have over 4,000 members in their group on Facebook, so they are definitely they're a mess. They have a massive following, and I always stick by CCW. There was some stuff that went on, but I really believe in the company and their product, and they have an offshoot company now, Carnage Championship Wrestling. But gentlemen, I want to give you now the floor because you guys are busy man. You've got promoters left and right that want to message you and championships to kind of hold and polish those belts. So I want to give you guys the floor first. And Champagne Charlie, anything that you want to share and say or anything else? And
like I said, got a title defense next month. Great British Wrestling Alliance. Do shows for great causes all the time. They do it for great charities. And like I said, defending the fighting championship against Madman McLaren. Got some stuff for Dropkicks Wrestling, DKW coming up down the line. Nothing's been properly announced yet, but great company. Produce the likes of Wade Barrett and Nick Aldis. Like I said, great. Company has been around for this year is actually the 25th anniversary of DKW as well. So follow DKW. Immortal Wrestling, like May 27th. I'll be defending the championship. And like I said, we've got hopefully stuff with Nonstop Action Wrestling. As it mentioned a few minutes ago, possibly the Wrestling Appreciation Society, CCW, Breakout Wrestling in June 11th. There's so much, and I can't wait. Hopefully there'll be more down the line.
Absolutely. I can't believe how quickly this whole thing took off. It looks like 2023 is definitely shaping up to be a very, very good year for the first class of professional wrestling.
Absolutely.
So everyone, please watch this space. I'm sure we'll be back on with the Reverend Tom Bryce at some point.
We'd love to come back again.
And, we look forward to just keeping you in the loop with everything first class.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, as I said in the intro, I went from being a second-class citizen to living like I'm in the third or fourth world to just getting a small.
Do you know what? I think I can send Dalton the Rev Tom Bryce, honorary member of first class. What do you say?
I appreciate that. Yeah. I appreciate that very, very much. But before we get out of here, one more time, please follow the guys. Champagne Charlie Vintage 92 on Instagram, the _ Nomad Wrestler on Instagram. Also, Facebook, like his page as well. Also, Cutlery Championship Wrestling, Nonstop Action Wrestling, Breakout Wrestling. Follow those great companies. Also, two more comments before we get out of here.
Give Immortal Wrestling a follow because we've got big things going on at Immortal this year. If you can, get into WAW. We've got a fully stacked year at WAW coming up. Just watch this space.
Yes, Immortal Championship Wrestling. I want everybody to follow as well. I believe it's let's see here. I believe it's Immortal. I have a few with them. I have it here. I have it here. Wrestle Immortal. We just follow that up here on Sportswire. So please follow them. We've added them to the mix as well for coverage. And again, Champagne Charlie Vintage 92 on Instagram, the _ Nomad Wrestling on Instagram. Michael says, but yes, Kyle, name a day, take on Dalton. I'll make sure I'm in the front row to see you pinned 1, 2, 3 or tap out. Might be funny seeing you tap out like the little man you are. Uncle Ralph says, a very interesting show this evening. I hope to meet you guys in person.
Very interesting.
Likewise, absolutely likewise.
Well, I have a feeling that could very well happen. But this was a really, really eventful show on Sportswire Radio, and we were joined by the first class, Champagne Charlie, the Nomad, Dalton, Garrett. They're going to be in action coming up here very soon here. 4 championships between them. Could be much, much more in the Pikes, plus several other companies. And my name, again, is the Reverend Tom Bryce. If you are on Sportswire Radio, and we will go back to our regularly scheduled programming. If you are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, I'll be back tomorrow with another doubleheader of coverage with Remus Kane, and then to follow the CCW World Champion Hybrid, who I'm going to be asking about guys. I'm going to ask Mr. Hybrid about this. So a lot to talk about here. So thank you, everybody here, for tuning in on the #1 global radio station. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and thank you, everybody here, for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow night.